Hello everyone, this is Keith from the Solo Gamers Club, and thank you for joining me at my channel. Tonight we'll be taking a detailed look at one of my all-time favorite cooperative games, Antoine Bauza's Ghost Story from Repos Productions. We'll start with an introduction to the game's components, followed by a basic overview of the rules. Then we'll explore the two expansions and introduce their new game elements. Along the way, I'll share my solo variant, which adapts the Black Secrets expansion's multiplayer elements for solitaire play. So join me as we travel back to mysterious ancient China as we play Ghost Stories.
Xiao Jiao was the sixth ruler of the Shang dynasty, who ruled China in 1560 BC. The emperor's most trusted advisor was a wise philosopher and mystic named Wu Feng. Outwardly, Wu Feng served the emperor with great skill and dedication. But inwardly, Wu Feng seethed with jealousy and greed, as he could never be content with being a humble advisor. His intellect demanded that he should be the emperor. Over the years, Wu Feng carefully built alliances with several important vassals across the empire, and he made meticulous preparations that would allow him to seize the throne. However, his treachery was discovered by Xiao Jia's palace guards, and Wu Feng and his conspirators were arrested and sentenced to the lingqi, the slow slicing, more commonly known as the death by 1,000 cuts. Before his execution, Wu Feng promised that one day his minions would recover his remains and he would return to the earth, bringing plague and destruction upon the world. After his execution, his body was cremated and his ashes were unceremoniously placed into 3 bronze funerary jars. The jars were secretly taken to a region in the Middle Kingdom and hidden in the catacombs beneath the remote village of Longnan, never to be spoken of again. Or so it seemed. Over the centuries, the tale of Wu Feng drifted into obscurity and was forgotten by most. But the spirit of Wu Feng has forgotten nothing. Now known as the Lord of the Nine Hells, Wu Feng seeks the location of the 3 urns. He has dispatched his demon hordes to scour the empire to seek their location. A small sect of Taoist monks has kept the faith and has guarded the village of Longnan over the generations, shielding its dark secret from the minions of Wu Feng. However, the minions of Wu Feng never slumber, and they have now arrived in Longnan seeking the urns. Will the Taoist monks resist the efforts of the Lord of the Nine Hells demonic horde? Or will Wu Feng exact his revenge on the living? Ghost Stories is a 1-to-4 player cooperative game in which the players take on the roles of Taoist monks who have pledged to guard a village from Wu Feng, the Lord of the Nine Hells. Each monk has a specific power that will aid him in his quest to guard the living from the dead. The village is composed of 9 random locations. These sites can aid the monks, but they may become haunted by the ghosts. With the White Moon expansion, the villagers take on a more active role, as the monks and ghosts now battle for the souls of the living. Finally, the Black Secret expansion adds a system of catacombs beneath the village, in which the monks and the minions of Wu Feng race to uncover the 3 urns containing Wu Feng's earthly remains.
The base game comes with 9 village tiles, and the supplement and expansions add an additional 3 locations. We're going to randomly select 9 tiles, and we're going to set them up in a 3x3 grid, and that is going to form the village. Next up are the player boards. Each of the 4 player boards displays 3 rectangles where attacking ghosts will be placed. The boards are double-sided and provide a unique power for the player. Our next component are chi tokens. Chi tokens represent the Taoist's life force. They may be lost as a result of a board overrun or from the effects of several game mechanisms. They can be regained through rewards and from interacting with the tea house. A Taoist may possess any number of chi, but they are limited to the number of chi tokens in the supply. At the start of the game, depending upon the level, we will begin with 3 or 4 chi tokens for each of our Taoists. Then we have yin-yang tokens. Each Taoist begins with 1 yin-yang token that can be spent to perform a special action. The token can be regained through rewards. The token can be used to get help from any villager without having to be on the villager's tile, or to turn a haunted tile back to its active side, so they're very powerful. Then we have Tao tokens. These tokens represent mystical components, such as sticky rice, the yellow, silver bells, the green, incense sticks, red, Taoist mirrors, blue, and coins, black. These tokens may be played during an exorcism and count the same as a Tao die result. Any Taoists in the same space as the exorcism can contribute Tao tokens towards banishing a ghost. Then we have Tao dice, a curse die, and an infernal die. Normally, each Taoist will roll 3 Tao dice during an exorcism, but they may receive a bonus gray Taoist die. The curse die is rolled when instructed, and the Taoist must suffer any negative effects listed. These include no effect, haunted village tiles, adding a ghost, discarding all of the player's Tao tokens, or the loss of a chi. The optional infernal die, which is a part of a supplementary expansion, its effects can include no effect, haunting village tiles, activation of a demon, playing of a curse, or the arrival of a skeleton token. The ghosts we're going to encounter in the game are characterized by their name, the color background of the card, their resistance, their special abilities, and a loss or reward. When a ghost arrives, it must be played on the board of its color. If all 3 of the board spaces are occupied, then it must be placed in any space of the player's choice. If this is still not possible, the player will lose 1 chi. Black ghosts must be placed on the active board. If all 3 of the active board spaces are occupied, then it is placed on a space of the player's choice. Our arch enemy, Wu Fang, will appear in the game as an incarnation. The base game comes with 10 different incarnations, while another 10 are supplied through supplements. They're depicted on red-backed cards and include the Wu Fang symbol. To win the game, the players must exorcise the incarnation of Wu Fang. 2 Buddha figures are available at the Buddhist temple and can be acquired by the players. When they're acquired, they're placed on the player mat. They may be played at the end of a future turn when the Taoist is facing an empty ghost space. As soon as a ghost is placed in a space protected by a Buddha, it is immediately transferred to the discard pile without applying any of its abilities or rewards. Haunting figures will appear based on the ghost cards, and they're going to attempt to move towards the village and haunt village spaces, making them unavailable to us during play, and if they're able to haunt 3 or more of them, we'll lose the game. And now we'll go through our setup procedure. We're going to begin by randomly placing 9 village tiles into a 3x3 grid. I've prepared a table to help me with this randomization. So we've randomly constructed our village using that random village tiles table. Next, we're going to consult the player board chart And we're going to roll a d6 and a d4, and that's going to tell us which side of the board will be used and its position in the cardinal directions, north, south, east, or west. Game board is now set up. We have our 9 village tiles and our 4 player boards that have been randomly placed in each of the cardinal directions. As we'll be setting up for an introductory level game, each player board has been given a Tau token of their color, a black Tau token, 4 Qi tokens, and their Yin-Yang token. To prepare our ghost deck, we're going to shuffle the ghost cards and we're going to count out a total of 55 cards. With the expansions I have a total of 75 ghost cards. So we'll be counting out 20 of them, leaving us with a deck of 55. Then we're going to count out 10 cards from the top of the deck. And on top of the 10 cards we just counted out, we're going to place one of the Wu Fang incarnations. Then we're going to take the remaining cards and put those on top of those, and that is going to form our ghost deck for the game. The unused cards are placed back in the box, sight unseen. We place our starting Taoists in the center village tile. Game is now set for a standard game. And our victory conditions for the base game is the Taoists must exorcise the incarnation of Wu Fang. All we know is that there is an incarnation of him of some nature, and it is the 11th card from the bottom of the deck. We can lose the game in one of 3 ways. All the Taoists are dead, they have no remaining Qi. A third village tile becomes haunted, or the last ghost card is played and we have not exorcised Wu Fang. Next, we'll introduce the White Moon expansion elements. We'll begin with the villagers. Prisoners in their own village, the villagers are easy prey for Wu Fang's hordes. The Taoists must protect them and attempt to lead them to safety. Each family saved will support the Taoists, but each individual killed will penalize them. Our village tokens contain the following information. The information included on the tiles include the name of the family, the size of the family. In this case, there's only one member, and that's Lady Wang. The negative effect if killed, and the positive effect if the entire family is saved. So in this case, if we can save Lady Wang, we're going to gain that benefit. So in this case, if Lady Wang is killed, we're going to lose the ability to use blue Tau tokens. However, if we save her, we're going to gain that benefit. That benefit is listed as fireworks. And in this case, the fireworks symbol would award us this token. And on the back of the token is its effects. In this case, it says that during the Yang phase, a player can discard the firework to benefit from the action of any other tile without having to be on it. Now we're going to randomize all of our village tokens, and we're going to place 3 of them on each village tile to start the game. So we've randomly placed 3 villagers in each of the exterior village tiles. The central tile does not have any villagers in it, but what it does have is a portal. And what we can do is, as our Taoists are moving around the board, they can always, when they move, take one of the Taoists or one of the villagers in the space that they're in and move that, say, to the center tile. Then they can, as an action, attempt to rescue that villager through the portal. That's how we save the villagers. As villagers are saved, they're going to be placed on the saved villagers board. And once we accumulate all the members of that family, we would gain the reward listed. When villagers are killed, they're placed on the graveyard board. If we ever have a total of 12 of them, Wu Fang will come to life and we're going to lose the game. It's a new loss condition for the expansion. But to help us, we have a new character that will be added to the game, and she is called Su Ling. Su Ling was a young villager who sacrificed herself to endow the imprisonment of Wu Fang's ashes. However, her spirit lingers in the village to protect the villagers and help the Taoists in their struggle. Su Ling comes into play after one of the following effects. A villager is killed, a curse die is rolled, or a village tile is haunted. When deployed, Su Ling cancels the ability of the central stone of the ghost in front of her. In addition, when she is placed on a haunting icon adjacent to an empty receptacle, the player can take a moon crystal from the reserve and place it in that receptacle. To begin the game, we turn over the top villager of each stack. And the strategy here is to look at the number of members in that family. And in this case, we have Old Tang. There's only one of him. So if we can rescue him, we're going to gain that benefit right away because he's only one member of a family. There are families that have 3 members, in this case, the Hui family. We have to rescue 3 of those in order to gain that benefit that he has there. Another feature of the White Moon expansion are these corner locations and receptacles. Now, what will happen with those is we can earn moon crystals. Moon crystals can be earned by Su Ling entering the board and her being placed in a corner location next to a receptacle. That would allow us to place one of the crystals on that receptacle. Another option for the moon crystal is to use them just as you would a Tao token to give you a success when attempting an exorcism. The other method is when all of the moon crystals have been placed on the corners of the receptacles, as in this condition, we form what is known as the mystic barrier. As soon as that happens, we have a special action that interrupts the game and then allows each board to undertake a special action. We can return the moon crystal to the reserve from the magic barrier to save a villager at the top stack on the tile with the portal. That's one option. Another option is we can roll 4 Tau dice to try to exorcise 1 or more ghosts on that player's board. So it's a very powerful effect. Now, Haunters have a new ability in the White Moon expansion. When a Haunter would appear on the board, they would start on their card. And then each round, that Haunter is going to move closer towards that village square that it's in front of. As soon as it enters the board, it's going to make one of the villagers flee. And when he flees, he has to move 1 space in the opposite direction. Now, you can only have a total of 3 villagers on any spot. So if this, in this case, if this villager had to flee, there's no space for him to go there and he is going to be killed instead. So a big part of the strategy is making sure that when these Haunters come on the board, that they're going to have room in case they would attempt to haunt that tile. We have room to escape, our villagers to escape to. Now we'll move on to the Black Secret expansion. Now the Black Secret expansion is not a cooperative expansion. It's intended to turn the Wu Fang into a player. And there'll be a player that is going to operate Wu Fang and his minions. However, I've developed a way to include the Black Secret expansion into a solitaire game. We'll begin with the Catacomb board. Now, the Catacomb board represents the lower level of the village, its catacombs. It's composed of 9 squares which correspond to the 9 village tiles at the surface. Board has 2 sides and should be randomly selected during setup. During setup, we're going to place 9 ladder tokens, 1 in each of the spaces of the catacombs. The ladders allow the Taoists to move between the surface and the catacombs. Several game events, such as haunting of a village tile, can remove ladders. Some game actions can restore lost ladders. Now this expansion will introduce a new set of tiles, and they're known as catacomb tokens. Catacomb tokens will be deployed one to each space depending upon the number of Taoists that we have in the game. Catacomb tokens are sorted by the number, and that would be the number of Taoists that are shown on the tile. We have a set for 1, 2, 3, and 4 Taoists. We'll begin by placing the 1 Taoist tiles, one on each of the catacomb spaces. So we've placed 1 catacomb tile on each of the catacomb spaces. Now we're playing with all 4 Taoists, so we're going to be placing the next set on top of those, and we'll be using the 2 Taoist tiles, and we'll be placing those over the ones. We'll build up a stack here, and each of these catacomb spaces will eventually house 4 tiles. So at the start of the game now, we have a ladder, and we've got 4 of the catacomb tokens in each space of the catacombs. What will happen here is Wu Fang is going to eventually deploy demons. And there's 3 different types of demons that can be deployed. And he's going to use those demons to hunt these village tiles in search of his urns. And if he can get all 3 of those urns, Wu Fang is going to appear. Next up with the Black Secret expansion is Wu Fang's board. And this is where he's going to control several things. He's going to have his demons that he'll be able to deploy to the catacombs. He's going to have a space for curses that he can place, a place to display the urns as he recovers them, and then the shadow of Wu Fang. There might be additional manifestations of Wu Fang in the game. Now at the beginning of the game, Wu Fang is going to place the Seeker, the Landscaper, and the Gravedigger on his display. Now in place of using a ghost card to play on the board, he can, in lieu of that, use that value to place one of those demons into the catacombs, and then he can start searching for the urns. We also have something called the Shadow of Wu Fang. And once those urns are recovered, Shadow of Wu Fang will appear in the catacomb space where the 3rd urn is uncovered. Wu Fang also has another surprise for the Taoists, and that is skeletons. Skeletons are considered to be creatures with a resistance of 1 and of the color of the board on which they're placed. Skeletons are not ghosts and are never subject to the effects of the witch tile, the Pavilion of the Winds, or the Kung Fu School. Another new element for Wu Fang are curse tokens. Curse tokens come in 4 different types: level 1, level 2, level 3, and level 4. Now, in place of Wu Fang using a ghost card on the board, he can use that to play a curse of that color of the card. When a curse is played, it's placed on this curse board. And then once Wu Fang has placed enough curses here to open up the potential to play a level 2, then we would reveal his level 2 tokens, and he can use those, and eventually you form a pyramid where you can play a level 4 curse. The effects of curses can range from removing chi tokens from bloody mantras, placing skeletons onto board, removing ladders from the catacombs. Wide variety of different ways for Wu Fang to attack. Another new element in this expansion is for the Taoists, and that's called bloody mantras. They're sorted into 3 strengths: level 2, level 3, and level 4. During play, whenever a Taoist loses a chi, he can place it on one of these cards. And when the number of chi equals the value of the card, you gain the benefit. During setup, we're going to randomly draw 3 cards of level 2, 2 cards of level 3, and 1 card of level 4. We'll turn those cards face up. The remaining cards will be kept off to the side for future use. So the game is now set for full playthrough using both expansions. Alright, I'm going to play through one round and we'll activate each of the boards, and I'll be able to show the viewers how my solo variant will work, allowing us to use those multiplayer elements from the Black Secrets expansion. These are the bloody mantras that we have available. And these are the starting level 1 curses for Wu Fang. And we'll take a look at the starting special abilities of each of the boards. The yellow board has bottomless pockets. The yellow Taoist is never short of mystical components. Before his move, he may take a Tao token of any color among those available in the supply. So that's a very handy ability. The blue board has the ability Heavenly Gust. The blue Taoist can act in a heartbeat. He may request villagers' help and attempt an exorcism in the same turn in any order. The red Taoist has the special ability Dance of the Twin Winds. The red Taoist has the ability to guide his fellow monks. Before his move, he may also play one other Taoist figurine according to the move rules. So he can move another Taoist, and that is very helpful because if we have a situation where one of our fronts is being attacked, we can quickly move another reserve Taoist to that area to defend it. And finally, on the green board, we have God's favorite. The ancestral deities accompany the green Taoist. He may roll a second time any Tao die involved in a support action or an exorcism. He may keep some of the Tao dice and roll the others. Likewise, he may also roll the curse die a second time. However, the second result is always taken into account. All right, we're going to begin with the yellow Taoist. So we're going to place the active Taoist marker on that board, and that is the active board. Our first step in the advanced system using Black Secrets expansion is the demon phase. And what would happen there is any demons deployed to the catacombs would be able to either dig or move. At present, Wu Fang doesn't have any demons deployed to the catacombs, so we'll move on now to the yin phase. To begin the yin phase, we're going to examine the board, and if there were any ghosts deployed to the board, we would resolve their middle stone abilities from right to left in that order. Since we're just starting the game, there are no ghosts deployed. Then we would also determine if there is a board overrun situation. If every one of the active board's slots were filled, the active Taoist is going to lose a chi token. He's going to take damage from that. And finally, we're going to have an arrival of a ghost. And what will happen here is we're going to draw the top card from the ghost deck, and then we will roll on a table to determine what Wu Fang is going to do with that ghost. All right, and the first ghost that we've got to worry about is, an Amber Conjurer. Okay, it is a yellow card. That means we're going to have to, if it is used on the board, it would be deployed to the yellow board. It has a resistance of 2, and then it has these special abilities down at the bottom. When it enters into play, a demon will be spawned, and if we're able to exorcise that demon, Wu Fang would throw a curse. But we have to roll on a table to see what Wu Fang is going to do with this ghost. His choices are, he'll either deploy it to the board as normal, he would use it to throw a curse of a same color, yellow curse in this case, or he would use the card to deploy a demon to the catacombs. So we're going to consult Wu Fang's action table. It's a D10 roll, and there are some modifiers that might apply. In this case, the only modifier that will apply is +1 if no demon is currently in the catacombs. And this gives the advantage in the table for Wu Fang to get a demon into the catacombs. So we're going to roll a D10, and we'll be adding +1 to the result. We rolled a 4, and that is modified to a 5, and that means place the ghost on the village per the rules as written. Okay. So the roll indicates we'll be placing this ghost on one of the 3 positions on the yellow board. It's a yellow ghost. We place it on the yellow board. Now in the standard game, the player gets to decide which spot to put that ghost in. Now I have some rules in my solitaire variant for the Black Secrets expansion where we would be playing Wu Fang more aggressively. But I think for this playthrough, we will just do it as we would in a normal game. We'll place this ghost in a space that would be the least damaging to us. So in this case, I think we will place it here. Now when this ghost comes in, we always consult the first stone, and in this case, it's got the demon symbol. So that is going to allow Wu Fang to activate a demon of his choice. Now Wu Fang has 3 different demons that he can bring into the game. We have the Seeker, the Landscaper, and the Gravedigger. Each one costs a certain value ghost card to bring in, 2, 3, or 4, and they each have the resistance values of 1, 2, or 3. And you'll notice that those are in a rainbow color, and that simply means that wherever the position of that demon is on the catacombs board, that determines what color resistance that it is. Now we're able to bring in any demon of our choice, so obviously if we were playing Wu Fang, we would bring in the Gravedigger. He's the strongest. Now they also have variable abilities at the bottom, depending upon which side of the Wu Fang board we're using. As an example, the Seeker can deploy to any catacomb spot, otherwise the demons must enter in through one of the 2 entrances. The Landscaper's special ability is that when the Landscaper is exercised, the Taoist must discard a Tao token of Wu Fang's choice. If the Taoist has no Tao tokens, this effect is simply ignored. And finally, we have the Gravedigger's special ability, and his is when we exercise the Gravedigger, Wu Fang draws a ghost card. So it's pretty tough. So when a demon comes into play, he has to come in through one of the 2 entrances. You'll see that there's a stone wall around the board. There's 2 entrances, one in the southwest corner and one in the northeast corner. So Wu Fang would have to decide which location to bring that Gravedigger into. And if we examine the board on the surface, we would have the Kung Fu School above this, and we would have the Sorcerer's Hut would be above that location. So I think we're going to put him into this lower location. He starts there. Now, during play, during the start of each turn is the demon phase, and the demon can either dig by drawing a catacomb token, or he can move. Now, if a Taoist is on the space, he's not able to dig. Taoists can enter or leave the catacombs if there is a ladder token there. All right, that completes the yin phase. Now we would move on to the yang phase, and that's where the Taoists can take actions. First part of the yang phase is the yellow, or on the yellow board, that is the active board, so our yellow Taoist can do a move. And he can also use his special action. So I think what we'll do, we have a yellow ghost out here, and we want to try to exercise that. So at the start of the turn, that yellow Taoist can take a Tao token of his choice, and he's going to select a yellow one. He already has one, but we're going to probably be using that to exercise this demon. So he's going to gain another yellow Tao token as his special ability. Now he can move, so I think what we'll do is we're going to move him from the central square to the Sorcerer's Hut. Now once there, he has a few choices. He can either use the ability of the Villager, which would be to take a loss in chi, and we can discard any ghost on the board. Or we can attempt an exorcism. And I think that's what we're going to do. So to attempt an exorcism, the Taoist is going to roll 3 Tao dice. And what we're looking for is to get the results that are on the card in order to exorcise that demon. So we need basically 2 yellow results. All right, so we're going to roll our Tao die and see what happens. All right, we have 2 black results and 1 white. Now the white is a wild symbol, so that we can use that for any color. In this case, we're going to convert that into a yellow, so that would be one of the 2 yellow results that we need. So what we'll do to kill that is we're going to use one of our yellow Tau tokens, and we'll have the 2 results that we need, and that is going to exorcise that Amber Conjurer. Now, he's going to be removed from the board and placed in the discard pile, but you always consult that 3rd stone to see what's going to happen when that ghost is exorcised. And in this case, Wu Fang can throw a curse. So what we'll do is, this token is discarded, we've used that, and the ghost is also discarded. We put that in the discard pile. And now because of that 3rd stone, it gives Wu Fang the ability to throw any curse that he chooses. Now the curses that he has available, this is the hardest part of the game really, is the iconography. The designer has provided excellent player aids that give you all the information you need, but they're kind of scattered on three different sheets, and they're double-sided. So it takes a little bit of effort to kind of get used to the iconography, but once you do, you kind of know what you're looking for. Basically the top one here, that blue one, is a level 1 curse. And that's Wu Fang draws 1 incarnation card and adds it to his hand. In the advanced rules of the Black Secrets expansion, the Wu Fang player can accumulate different incarnations of Wu Fang. That gives him a more flexibility as to how he wants to fight the Taoists. The second one is Wu Fang removes a Qi token from a bloody mantra. Whenever a Taoist takes a loss of Qi, instead of putting that into the supply, we can place it on top of one of the bloody mantras, and if we have enough Qi tokens on that card equal to its value, we get the benefit from it. So he would be able to remove one of those with that. The third one is a red curse, and that's Wu Fang chooses a Taoist and rolls the curse die with the Taoist as the target. So that could be bad for us. And that one says Wu Fang moves a visible villager from one village tile to an adjacent village tile. So he would be able to move some of our villagers around, making it more difficult for us to rescue them. And finally, we have a yellow curse, and that one says Wu Fang draws 1 ghost card and plays it using one of the 3 choices. All right. And I think Wu Fang is going to select this curse. He'll be able to select any Taoist and force them to be the target of a curse die roll, which is never good. So now the curse is going to be played, and we put that on the Wu Fang board, on his curse board, on one of the 4 locations for a level 1 curse. The levels are always indicated by the notch in the bottom, 1 notch, 2 notches, 3 or 4. So we'll place it down here. Now as soon as Wu Fang throws a second level 1 curse, that would give you the combination to play a level 2 curse, and then our level 2 curses would be revealed and be available for Wu Fang to play. But in this case, we're going to select a Taoist, and they'll have to be the subject of a curse die. Now, if I was playing an actual game of this with my variant, I would roll randomly to determine which of the Taoists would be targeted. But in this case, I'm just going to use the active Taoist, and he'll be the target of a curse die roll. So we'll make the roll and see what happens. All right. All right, so this result is the first active tile in front of that ghost would become haunted. Now, with the new rules for the expansion for the White Moon expansion, what would happen, that would be considered to be as though we had a haunter moving onto the board. So that would force one of the villagers to flee. Now, unfortunately, with the stacking limits of 3, Mother Wu would normally like to retreat or flee to that space, but she can't. There are too many tokens there, so instead of that, Mother Wu is going to be killed, and we would put her on the graveyard board and turn over the next tile underneath. All right. And so we place Mother Wu on the graveyard tile. Now, when she is killed, there's also a special ability here that kicks in. So what that means is the Wu Fang player is going to draw an incarnation, and then he can put that incarnation into play. So what we're going to do is draw an incarnation of Wu Fang and add that to his hand. Now, during the course of the game, he might accumulate different incarnations of Wu Fang that can be played on the board. In this case, he only has the one that he just drew, so we have to play this. So that is a blue version of him, the Howling Undyne. All right. So we have to play that on the blue board. So we're going to place that on the blue board, and I'll put it here. Now it has a special ability that's no Su Ling, and we haven't gotten into that yet, but what this does is this prevents Su Ling from deploying to the board until we get rid of this ghost. So we're going to place the Su Ling marker on that card to let us know we can't use her. She's very powerful. It's unfortunate. Normally, whenever a curse is thrown or the curse die is rolled, we get the Su Ling marker, and that allows us during the end of the turn to place Su Ling anywhere on the board, and that helps us, but she can't be placed, so that's unfortunate for us. That's going to end the activation of the yellow board, and we would move the active board marker to the blue board, and the blue board will activate. Now we begin the phase with the demon phase, and there is a demon in the catacombs. So we would activate our demons in the order of strength, starting with the lowest to the highest. We have 1 here, so what he's going to do is dig, and what he does is he's going to turn over the top tile of that, in that catacomb space, and we'll see what that is. Oh. And that is a cursed tablet that is going to allow Wu Fang to throw a curse of his choice immediately. So that tile is placed in the discard, and Wu Fang can throw a curse. So we have the choice of playing one of those 4 curses that he has, and in a game, if I was playing this solitaire, I would probably randomly roll to determine which one it is, but I think we'll just play this yellow one, and that's going to allow him to bring a ghost into play. So we'll put that on the curse board. So we'll place that on the curse board, and now that is going to open up Wu Fang to be able to use his level 2 curses. So we will turn those level 2 curses over to see what he has with those. So we'll reveal his level 2 curses. And those are his level 2 curses that he can use. And now we'll move on to the yin phase, and that's where each ghost will activate using its center stone ability, starting from right to left. In this case, we've only got the Haunting Undyne. He does not have a central stone, so he won't do anything. He's just taking up the space, but he's a very difficult one to exercise. We need 4 blue results to get rid of him. So the next step is we are going to have a ghost arrival. We'll draw the top card from the ghost deck and use the table to find out what is Wu Fang going to do with him. And that card is revealed to be a gray haunter. Okay, now that's a black ghost. A black ghost goes on the active board. So he will be going on the blue board. When he arrives, he's going to devour one of the villagers. So we have to place this ghost on either of the 2 available spaces on the blue board. And we'll obviously want to select one that is going to be the least damaging to us. We'll put it in the central tile, and that is going to devour Father Hui. He's going to go to the graveyard. And then that ability is going to kick in when he's killed. We'll reveal the next token underneath. It's the Zhao family. And we have to now place Father Hui in the graveyard. So we'll place him in the graveyard, and then that ability is going to kick in. And what that means is the Taoist on the active board, the blue Taoist, is going to be down for the count. He won't be able to move this turn. So we'll put the blue Taoist down into the prone position, and during the next turn he can stand up, and he basically loses his turn during this coming Yang phase, which is not good. And now it becomes the Yang phase. So the Taoist would be able to stand up. He can't move this turn, but he could still take a board action in the space that he's at. That would be at the tea house. And that would allow the blue player to gain a Qi token, any Tao token that he wants, but it comes at the cost of bringing another ghost in. So I don't think we're going to do that. That's going to bring the blue board activations to a close, and we'll move on now to the red board. So the red board will activate, and we begin with the demon phase. Go back to the catacombs. So Wu Fang will activate his demon, the Gravedigger, and he'll turn over a tile. And he's got another cursed stone. That is amazing. So that will allow Wu Fang to use another curse. And I think Wu Fang is going to use a level 2 blue curse, and that's going to allow him to remove the bottom ghost from the deck, making our time shorter and a quicker chance of us losing the game. So he's going to play that level 2 curse. So the level 2 curse is played. We have to put it there. It's the only spot where 2 connecting lines go into a level 2 curse, and we will draw the bottom ghost from the deck without looking at it and put that into the box. Next up is the Yin phase. There are no active ghosts on the red board, so Wu Fang will bring a ghost into play. And in this case, it is a werewolf. It's a black ghost. We'll find out what he's going to do with that. Now this ghost has the Devourer symbol on there, so we're going to, when we roll on our table, we'll be getting a -1 result. And that's a cocked die. Rolls a 5, that's modified to a 4, so he's going to place it on the board. And when he does, that first ghost symbol is going to kick in, and that's going to allow him to bring in another ghost. So I guess we will place this here, and then we have to bring another ghost into play. In this case, we don't roll for it. We follow the action on the stone. And in this case, we have another black ghost. So that has to be played on the current board, and we have to resolve its first stone. These are the severed heads. We'll place it there. The severed heads ability is, as long as that ghost is on the board, it is going to hold one of our Tau dice. We place it on the card. We can't use it, so we would only be rolling 2 Tau dice for exorcisms. This is terrible. Now we move on to the Yang phase, and our red Taoist can activate. And I would think that the red Taoist needs to try to get rid of that severed heads that's taking up one of our Tau dice. So I think what he'll do is he's going to move to that location, and he's going to attempt an exorcism against the severed heads. And we're going to use his special ability, and that is the Dance of the Twin Winds, and that allows him to move another Taoist anywhere on the board that he chooses. So I think what we're going to do is we'll take the blue Taoist and we'll move him into the space with us. And the reason we're doing that is we want to be able to have an extra black Tau token that we can use in this exorcism. So we're going to attempt the exorcism. The red Taoist will attempt the exorcism of the severed heads. The blue Taoist is supporting, so he can give Tau tokens towards this. Here's the roll. We rolled 2 whites, and that can be used as any symbol, and we're going to use that against the severed heads. So the severed heads is removed from play, and then we gain that action when the ghost is exorcised. That means we gain a Tau token of our choice. So severed heads are placed in the discard, and the red Taoist is going to gain, I think, a red Tau token. We'll give him a red one. Actually, no, I'll take a green one. He'll take a green Taoist token. We'll put that on his board. And that's going to complete the action. And what that means is we get our third Tau die back, which is great. So we'll move on now to the next board, and then we'll activate the green Taoist. We'll place the active Taoist marker on the green board and go through our steps, and the first one is the demon phase. So we have an active demon in the catacombs, and he's going to dig. So we'll turn over the top tile, and this one is that's just dirt. There's nothing there, so that's like a no effect. That would go into the discard pile. We move on to the yin phase. There are currently no ghosts on the green board, so we will bring in ghost into play. And this time it is a blue ghost, a perfidious nymph. We'll find out what he's going to do with that. So we'll make a roll on the table. See what happens. There'll be no modifiers to this. He rolled a 6, and that means he's going to play it on the board. So we have no choice but to bring that in on the blue board. It's a 1 resistance ghost, and his special ability is he's going to bring in a ghost and will lose the special ability of that board. So we mark that board as being unusable. And another ghost has to be brought in, and this time it is a black ghost. All right. Black ghost would go on the active board, so that would go on the green board. All right, so the dark wraith has to be placed in on the green board. It's a 3 strength black ghost, and it's a haunter. Now his special ability is, normally when a haunter comes into play, the haunting figure is placed on the card. Well, in this case, he moves 1 space closer, and he's going to force one of the villagers to flee. In this case, it's Zhang, Mother Zhang. She can flee, though. She's got space because there is no one there in that adjacent tile. So we would flip this over to reveal the next villager. Now the green Taoist would activate. Green Taoist can move. In this case, the green Taoist is going to stay where he is. And one of the actions that they can perform is when a Taoist is in a space with the portal and a villager, they can save a villager. And that's what they're going to do. They will escort out Mother Zhang, and she's going to be placed on the saved villagers board. So we'll place her in the Zhang spot, and if we can get just 1 more of those, we would gain that benefit for rescuing the whole family. And that's going to complete a full round of the game using my solitaire system. I'll be posting the rules for that solitaire variant on the Black Secrets page on BGG. And anyone that wants to try it out, they can download it for themselves. And I think I'm going to bring this video to a close. The purpose of the video was to introduce the viewers to ghost stories and to show them my solo variant in case they have the Black Secrets expansion. And this would allow them to use that in a solo environment. I think in a future video, I'll simply be playing through the Ghost Stories base game, and we'll have a playthrough of that using just the basic rules, and I think that might be kind of fun. This game is really a well-produced game. The artistry on the tiles and the ghost cards is really beautiful work, and that really adds to the theme of the game. I've always been a fan of ancient China and their lore and mysteries, and this game really brings that out. And that's, I think, why I enjoy it so much. So that's going to about wrap this video up. Thank you so much for joining me at the Solo Gamers Club, and I hope to see you again soon with another video. In the meantime, this is Keith, signing off, wishing everyone A pleasant day.